Now it is my pleasure to officially get this call started off by turning this over to John Hewa, our President and CEO. Sir, please take it away.
Well, thank you, Allison, and good evening to our membership. I'm John Hewa, the President and CEO of Rappahannock Electric Co-op, and thank you so much for joining me and your fellow co-op member owners for tonight's telephone town hall meeting. Now, this is your co-op, and these meetings are such an important opportunity for us to connect and to talk about the issues and the matters of the day. And I'm really extremely thankful for our time that we're going to have together tonight, and for all of you who have taken the time to join us. Now, as we get started, I want to just be very clear to take a moment and acknowledge and thank all of our employees who make up the REC workforce, and I want to also thank their family members for the support they give them in allowing them and enabling them to do their job. This past year, all through 2020, and particularly as the pandemic reached its heights, this past year has been such a challenge for everyone. We had employees who have been here at the co-op every day, making sure that our on-site operations continued, that crews were rolling and taking care of the system and the grid and the membership. We had people working to make sure our systems were up and running, and we had a lot of our employees who carefully pivoted to work remotely, to report from a home office or even a field vehicle, to make sure that we were able to work and to continue to serve the membership on the phones and in other ways. So with all of these challenges that we faced, your employee team has accomplished so much for you as the member owners, and I will tell you, we couldn't be more proud of their accomplishment and their work and their dedication during this challenging time. Now, tonight, there are really 4 important things that I want to share with you in my opening dialogue before we get to the question and answer portion. And you can expect to hear more about these topics in the coming weeks, but I want you to see your cooperative in a new light. The best of all that REC has stood for over the years, delivering on its core service and its commitment to the membership and the communities we serve, and also as a nimble organization responding to new member and new community needs with new solutions. We are indeed sharpening our focus on the services that we provide you and to our communities, and we want you to know that we have a bright future ahead together. Now, first, of those four important areas, first, I want you to know we've missed not being able to engage with you in person directly at co-op events and in our lobbies and in our offices for the last many, many months. I'm very pleased to report that we have now reopened our offices and our member service lobbies are open for appointments and walk-up visits. With that, we have implemented some enhanced safety and security measures for your protection. And with so many members now taking advantage of our very convenient electronic payment methods we offer, we felt like now was a great time to make some adaptations for the future. Now, we understand very clearly, our entire team, and particularly our member services team that has been working with the membership day by day, we understand the challenges and the hardships that so many have faced during the health pandemic over the past 15 months. And I want you to know that we are here for you. Our member services team is available. We want to make sure that we can help any members who are struggling to catch up on their electric bill payments, and we can work with members, both residents and business, to set up long-term manageable repayment plans. So if you need help, if you're on the call tonight and you need help on your power bill, please reach out to us. Again, we are here for you. Now, the second area I want to cover, and this is really good timing to be talking about this, each year your co-op returns member patronage in the form of capital credits. And this year, your board of directors has approved the return of $10 million back into the member owners, back into the community. And so this return will be in the form of a cashback credit, and you will see that on your electric bills in July. We are extremely grateful for the board of directors for making this possible, for the financial health of the co-op, and to the REC workforce for their diligent work in effectively managing and controlling our operating expense so that there are margins and that the co-op is financially healthy. This return of capital credits happens after a strong financial year, so please look again for that cashback credit on your power bill in the month of July. And we hope that this is timely and helpful for you and your families and businesses. Now, up next, the third area, and this is something that many of you are probably familiar with if you've been a co-op member for more than a few years. Around this same time each year, we begin, and on July 1, we will begin our annual Director Election Proxy Designation process, and that officially kicks off on July 1. And so all member owners will receive a direct mail from REC containing the proxy designation form, and if we have your email on file, you will also receive an email from us. So you'll get direct mail and an email. We are continuing, year by year, we're continuing to expand the ways that you can take part in the proxy designation process. Similar to last year, you can also designate your proxy in the My REC Smart Hub over the web. And then a new addition this year is that you can also designate your proxy using the My REC Smart Hub mobile app. So this improves our convenience yet again and is intended to help promote even more member participation. And your participation is extremely important in the co-op democracy. You know, last year we had a virtual annual meeting and we had this similar process. We had over 20,000 REC member owners that participated in the proxy process in electing directors. And so this was a record-breaking participation for REC. This year we're hoping to see just as many, if not more, of you participate. The annual meeting itself will be held virtually this year on August the 11th, starting at 7 o'clock p.m. And so we hope you will take the time, again, to tune in by phone, just like we are tonight, or online by watching the live stream on August 11th. And again, I cannot emphasize enough, your participation in the annual meeting and the director elections is so important. This is the co-op democracy in action. So please be on the lookout for the proxy designation form in the mail or by email, and take a few moments to designate your selections and return that form to us. Also, if you have a chance, encourage your REC neighbors and friends to do the same and to participate. Now, I want you to know, as we look ahead, you're going to continue to see increased opportunities to engage with REC. Your feedback as owners of this co-op is valued and it's critical. For example, right now we are conducting member focus groups to help us shape and launch a brand new program. This is the first of its kind in Virginia. It's an on-bill tariff program that helps members, residential members, with support for energy efficiency improvements at your homes. And so this program is designed to help you lower your energy cost, save money, and use that savings to afford some energy efficiency improvements. We're really excited about the future rollout of that program. Later this summer, we'll also be looking for more member input as we share opportunities with members to provide feedback in a focus group environment on our new planned outage map, which we hope to launch later this year. As you know, our region is prone to storms. Those storms can affect our service reliability, and so we want to make sure we're getting more information to you during storm events. Our goal is always to keep the power on and to keep everything safe, but in the event that you're experiencing a power outage and you're in the dark because of a power outage, well, we don't want you to be in the dark in terms of a lack of information. So our goal with this new outage map is to deliver a new level of information about what's happening around the co-op and what we're doing to get the power restored. Now finally, our fourth area of the areas I wanted to discuss was since March of this year, we've really made some big progress and announcements with respect to working to help solve and bridge the digital divide for broadband in our underserved communities. For instance, we're making significant progress in Louisa County and the work being done there through our partnership with Firefly Fiber Broadband and Dominion Virginia Energy as well. That's a good example of the progress we hope to expand further across our service territory. In fact, earlier today, REC and Firefly and Dominion also announced a goal to seek to expand a regional partnership for the three entities to be able to help, and REC to be able to help facilitate broadband internet in additional REC counties to additional REC member owners. So In all of this, funding is very, very critical. It's an expensive project, expensive undertaking, but I can assure you that REC is doing its part to be a very strong facilitator and to help our communities get those services they need and get connected. And we're hopeful that we will continue to partner with other internet service providers in various counties that we serve. So with that, I will just say that I very much look forward to hearing from you this evening. I'm ready to get ready here to answer your questions, and I'll say that if you have specific questions that require a detailed follow-up, our staff, we have staff members on the phone tonight as well, listening in. They're taking notes. We will be following up with everyone that has a matter that needs follow-up in a very timely manner after this evening's call. So with that, Allison, thank you, members. Thank you for your patience and allowing me to go over those key areas. And Allison, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thank you again. That was John Hewa, our President and CEO. Another reminder, to get in line with your question, please press 0 on the keypad on your phone. We have Donnie, Sandra, Richard in line right now. And as our CEO and President did say, we're going to take as many questions as possible live tonight, but we will be responding to all of these questions that are submitted. So let's get started without further ado. Donnie in Frederick County, you are live right now, sir. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, we live in the Lake Frederick area in the southern end of Frederick County. And just a few nights ago, we had a major power surge in the community here that knocked out power to this neighborhood as well as some others in the surrounding areas. And I was just curious, and this may be something that would require follow-up, which is no problem at all, but I was just curious to get a little bit of more information. It was a significant surge. It did, damage to various, electrical components in the house. We had some lights blow out. I know we had a lot of people in the neighborhood that had, some just minor, various damage here and there. So just to get a little more information about what happened would be good.
Certainly, and Donnie, thank you for being a member. Thank you for your inquiry. And let me first say that it's always our intent to keep the lights on, but that was indeed a very violent storm that went through that region, and we did have a number of members off. Our crews were able to get out there and respond. One of the things that I'll just kind of recommend in general is that we can work with you on a surge protection at your home. That's something that is really important to take a look at. It can help protect the appliances and electronics and things that might be sensitive inside of your home. But from time to time, we do have where our conductors may make contact, or we may have a lightning issue. There are a number of things that can disrupt or even put what's called an overvoltage on the system that can impact service quality. So our team here is listening and taking notes, and we'd be glad to follow up with you on how we might be able to work with you on a more of a whole house surge protection. Thank you for your question.
Thanks so much, John. Thanks so much for your participation tonight, Donnie. Let's go right away to Sandra on Amicus Road. Sandra, you are live right now. Please go ahead with your question.
Hello. My question is about the internet service. We live in the country 6 miles from Standardsville in Greene County, and we've had satellite internet in the past, and it's not, weather is just shut you down. And now we have a DSL line, and cable is probably out of the question because you have to have a density of population. But I'm very interested, took the survey, and like to know more about it and how soon and if our area is included.
Right. Well, thank you, Sandra, for your question. Thank you for being an REC member, and thank you for taking the time to participate in that survey. We did last year particularly reach out to all of the REC membership with an opportunity to provide some input about their needs related to broadband. That was both for residential and business needs, and that was to help us assess what we believe, which was that many of our members would like to see REC be a strong facilitator or seek some way to help, for REC to help get service, internet service, to areas that are considered underserved particularly. The purpose of that survey was to establish how many members would be, whether it be a residential or business, might be likely to take service, and to begin to quantify that. I mentioned in my opening comments our regional partnerships that are in place and shaping up, particularly with Firefly broadband, and we are hopeful that we can be working with Greene County and that we can find a way to further our service considerations into that area. One of the very important things, and one of the reasons for the timing of our survey last year, was because of the urgency and the focus at the federal and here in Virginia and the Commonwealth on broadband and the likelihood of federal and or Virginia funding rolling forward, because these projects are very expensive. They're difficult to do in terms of having enough subscription to pay for the system. That's why funding assistance is so important. And so, Sandra, that survey was to help us determine what the business case would look like and how much funding is needed to make the projects feasible. Thanks so much for your question, and we are very hopeful to continue to expand our role in getting service out to Greene County and others.
Great. Thanks so much, John. Let's go right. We have Richard up next, and Sunny, Renee, Charles. Great questions. Keep them coming by pressing 0 on the keypad on your phone. Right now we have Richard in Rappahannock County. You're live. Go ahead with your question.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to address RAC. My question is the co-op planning to implement time of use tariffs? Please comment.
Sure thing, Richard. And again, thank you for being a member at Rappahannock County. And so actually, the co-op already has a voluntary time of use rate schedule. We have a rate that is available, and we're glad to describe it to you in detail on a follow-up call, but it basically has different on-peak and off-peak intervals or time frames for the summer months and the non-summer months. And for instance, in the summertime, the on-peak hours are between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the evenings and afternoons on weekdays, and it excludes weekends and holidays. So we're glad to talk with you, Richard, about the potential for that rate and how that might benefit your home or business. Now, let me also say there's a couple of other things that I think are really related that you also probably would appreciate knowing about. One, right now we have about 1,000 member owners who are also signed up for a summertime savings plan, which is really what's considered a peak time rebate. And so that's a pilot program, a pilot study that we're running for 2 years. And that is like a time of use. It's not quite the same as time of use, but it does provide some credit to members who are able to reduce their power when they're called upon to do so. And again, this is a trial pilot to demonstrate the efficiency of that program before it would become a full-time program at REC. The other thing I just should probably mention, Richard, and again, you raised a very good and a very timely point here, is that we are also working on an electric vehicle rate. We've submitted an application to the State Corporation Commission, and that electric vehicle rate focuses on charging a vehicle during smart hours. And so it's seeking to make it even more beneficial for a member who could charge their vehicle outside of those peak hours. And so that program is in the shaping right now. It will be also a pilot that will be limited to a couple of hundred participants, and we are hoping to be talking a lot more about that in the months ahead. Richard, outstanding question. Thank you for asking.
Thanks so much, John and Richard. Let's go right away to Sunny in Front Royal. Sunny, you're live right now. Please go ahead with your question.
All right, thanks, John. It's funny you say that was going to be my question about electrical vehicle charging. Last year, I think I was one of the few people in these town hall meetings that had asked about the EV charging. It'd be great if that was already implemented by now. I mean, surely we all have patience. You know, we know how long state and government applications and regulations can be, but What is a realistic timeline for that electric vehicle charging hours to go through? I think the quote, not to hold anybody to it, but was somewhere around a year, and we're around that point now. How much longer would you say until the conversations move forward, and how would I be able to be one of the participants in this list that you mentioned? Thank you.
Sonny, fantastic question, and thanks for being on the session last time. So here's where we are on that time frame. So we submitted the application to the State Corporation Commission in April of this year. The commission staff does a thorough review, and we're expecting to have that review and to see the results of that review by around mid-September. Now, if things go as we expect and as we plan, we're hoping that an order from the commission that could favorably approve REC's electric vehicle pilot rate would come out in the October-November timeframe. And so we would like to launch later this year, hopefully by the end of the year, if not extremely early in 2022. I would really like to make sure that our team follows up with you, because we know you have an intent and an interest on this. And let me just say, generally speaking, just as a kind of a point of reference, we're really excited. There's a lot of opportunity, but also some challenges around electric vehicles. But there are some real win-win opportunities. We have to make sure we have the grid in good shape, we have enough capacity and enough reliability to be there for folks that are charging up vehicles. But with the announcement coming out from General Motors with their EV, entire EV fleet by 2035, we've seen the new introduction of the Ford F-150 Lightning. There's a lot of exciting things happening with electric vehicles. One thing our members and listeners tonight might want to hear is that this is just kind of a typical statement here, is that a driver who drives about 15,000 miles a year, and a lot of people in rural counties drive a lot more than 15,000 miles a year, but a driver who drives about 15,000 miles a year could save as much as about $2,000 a year in fuel by switching to a comparable electric vehicle over what they're driving potentially today. So there really is an opportunity for some ability to save money and to have other benefits to the region. So thanks for asking the question, Sonny, and I'm sure other people are wondering the same thing.
Great. Thanks so much, John. Let's get back to our questions right away. Let's go to Renee in Earlyville. Renee asked that I read her question. Her question goes like this: how do I get credit for the electricity I am not using or saving by having solar panels? And again, that's from Renee.
Sure thing. Thank you, Renee. Great question. We've got a couple of ways that your co-op is and will continue to support you and other members, residential or commercial or business, with respect to solar. Now, today we have about 1,300 REC member owners that have interconnected solar arrays. Most of those are rooftop, but there are some larger farm, ground mount types of systems. So for the member that wants the actual assets, the solar panels on their property or on their home, and in some cases the roof might not be suitable, but for the member that wants to do that, we work closely advising the member, and we work with the member on an interconnection. We have what's called a net metering program that provides grid, REC's grid power when it's dark out, or when it's not, when you might have energy needs beyond what your solar array could produce, and vice versa. When you're, let's say you're not home or you're not using a lot of power, but the sun's out and it's shining and you're producing a lot of energy, we actually buy back that energy, and we're glad to buy that back. That's so consistent with the co-op model to begin with. The co-op is built around people with a common interest working together to solve energy needs. So you as an owner and an owner of a solar array, we're glad to buy that excess power back, and we'll deliver it to your neighbor, and they can use those kilowatt hours. Now, beyond that, for the member that might be interested in the environmental benefits but doesn't have, maybe they're not the owner of the site, or maybe the roof isn't quite ready to be invested with a solar array, we have a program called Cooperative SunShare, and that provides the membership an opportunity to buy solar-produced energy but to do it without actually having the solar array on their own property. So that's another option as well. But there are multiple ways that we're able to do that. And then beyond that, our power provider, Old Dominion Electric Co-op, ODEC, who's headquartered in Richmond, they're a co-op as well. ODEC is actually has built and is continuing to build across the Commonwealth and the regions that they serve some what I would call utility scale solar arrays in communities that are interested in those kinds of deployments. So we've got a lot happening in terms of solar. We've been pleased with the cost reduction, and it's yet another way for the co-op business model to thrive and for us to work with member owners to help your connectivity. So thank you for the question.
Thanks so much, John. Thanks, Renee. Happy to read any of those questions. Again, just get them in line by pressing 0 on the keypad on your phone and let your operator know you'd rather me read your question. Let's go to Charles right now live before we have Gloria and Ron in line. Charles in Greene County, you're live. Please go ahead with your question.
How you doing? My name is Charles Wells, and I'm here. I live in Greene County, Stanleyville, and my main purpose is that sometimes I see where they trim the trees back from off the light. Well, we have a pole light here, but we also have a wire that runs between one tree that's in a fork, and it rubs up against the tree sometime when the wind blows. And I've been wondering if it was able for them to force the line is touching the tree, would they would be able to cut it down on that one side, so I can also have light and it wouldn't be on the line. And that's my question. Do y'all still can, if you call in and ask for a purpose to have the tree probably cut off one side so that the wire wouldn't rub up against, my line wouldn't rub up against the tree to maybe cause a fire, because it did a similar thing and it arced off the tree because it kept wearing to the war hole in the black tape that's around the wire. And then that's just wanted to hopefully maybe this year or sometime in the future that they will come and just cut it back enough, so that it won't be rubbing up against the tree.
Charles, first of all, thank you for being an REC member in Greene County. We're thankful to hear from you this evening. And, reliability and safety are our top priorities. Those are exactly the questions you're raising about this service line and its proximity to the tree. And beyond that, we want the light to work for you as well. So we are very glad to have one of our designer or tree contact crews to come out and chat with you and take a look at it. Your co-op trims probably over 1,500 miles of line every year on vegetation, and so we're constantly working to keep up with the growth of our beautiful region. And so anytime we have a member with a tree issue, we're glad to take a look, and we'll do our best to make sure that everything's safe and that there's not a future reliability issue. So, Charles, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, John. Thanks, Charles. So glad to have you on tonight. Let's get right away to Gloria in Warren County. Gloria, you're live. Please go ahead.
Hi. I was wondering, in the last town hall meeting, we discussed power outages up in Shenandoah Farms in Warren County. And, excuse me, I get personally 2 power surges in my house where power goes out at least twice a week. Definitely once a week, where I have to, when I leave the house, unplug everything because of the surges to my computer, my printer, my TV, and so on. And they were going to look into that, but I don't know if there were any studies done or if there was any solutions that came about from the last call that we had on. And then with the voting on the proxy, I was wondering if on the voting that they listed the current leadership and the new leadership that would like to, be voted on, because I don't know who the current leadership is, and I'm very satisfied with the town hall meetings. I'm grateful for them and the leadership that's already in place. So I don't know who's current.
Gloria, thank you for being an REC member. Thank you for your question, and I'll take up both of your comments in order there. So first of all, with regard to the frequency that you're experiencing disruption and fluctuations in power and what you kind of consider to be a surge, we absolutely will and will certainly take a look at that. We do have some of our circuits that we monitor all of our circuits, our electric circuits, and I believe that the region that you might be in is in one of our circuits that's struggled with power quality. We are investing heavily in our budget this year to remedy that. So we have some projects that are specifically designed, and I think what would be good is to have one of our engineering team members contact you and talk with you about that. So we want to make sure we get that taken care of. Secondly, I'm glad to hear that you're planning to participate, and it sounds like I've participated in the past in the proxy process. Thank you. That's exactly what we want members to do. Those proxies will be mailed out, and we have a very significant amount of candidate information. We have the bios, the professional bios of the candidates that's sent out to the membership. We have on our website videos from the candidates, both incumbent and any new individuals that are seeking to get on the board. So we provide a lot around that, and our objective is to make it easy for members to run for the board and clear for the membership to consider how they want to designate their proxy. So thank you for participating, and we'll hope that you'll enjoy the opportunity to participate again this year in the director election process. Thank you.
Thanks so much, John. Thanks, Gloria. So glad to have you on the line tonight. We have such an amazing response tonight. In line up next, we have Ron, before Betty, Lisa, and Sarah. Excellent questions tonight. Keep them coming by pressing 0 on the keypad on your phone. Again, as we did say earlier, our goal is to take as many questions as possible tonight live during this forum, but we will respond to all questions that were submitted. So go ahead, press 0. Again, we're taking them live, but if you'd rather not go live, just let your operator know, and I'd be happy to read your question over the air. All right, let's get to Ron live right now. Ron in Midland, you're live. Please go ahead with your question.
Yes, I just put some solar panels on my roof a couple of months ago, and I've got two, for the 2 months that I've had them, I've only had a bill of $18 for each month, and that's for taxes, apparently. But earlier there was somebody that said something about net metering, and my understanding is that REC does not do net metering with solar panels. So can you clarify that for me?
Absolutely, Ron. And first, thank you for being a member, and congratulations on the installation of that system. And I hope that the interconnection has gone well for you. So we do offer net metering. In fact, we have what I would say is a more of a generous net metering program in the way that we do the true-ups. So we do kind of an annualized true-up, which actually benefits the member owner, the consumer, because the winter months can maybe underproduce, the summer months can maybe overproduce, and so that the way we handle the true-up is actually very favorable to you and to your other co-op members that have installed. You mentioned the $18 bill, and of course that would be net of anything that the co-op is buying back. And of course there are some fixed charges associated with just having the cost of the service in place, having the transformers, the wires, the meters. But that sounds like really strong performance out of your system, and we do indeed offer net metering. And we've really leaned forward to help make sure that we're helping shape the ways to interact with members on solar. And quite honestly, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do more. I think there's some more ways we can leverage the co-op's strength in the years ahead to help make it easier, and to leverage our abilities to help it make it easier for members to install those types of systems. So thank you. If you have additional questions, we're glad to follow up and even get someone come out to your home if need be, and assist as best we could. So thank you, Ron.
Thanks so much, John. And yes, so glad to join our conversation tonight. We have just excellent questions. Let's get right away to Betty, who is in Winchester. Betty, you're live right now. Please go ahead with your question.
I live in Frederick County, Virginia, Winchester, Virginia, where there's no physical location for Rappahannock Electric. And I always find it very difficult to get through on the phone to talk to a real live person when needed. And I wondered, will I try to follow instructions as to the reason for my call, but sometimes I have to wait long, sometimes I even get disconnected. And I wanted to know, are there any plans in the future to rectify this or make this a little better?
Betty, thank you for your question. Thank you for being an REC member up in the Winchester area. And so, first of all, our goal is that you can indeed get through to an employee, an actual. I know that it can be frustrating if you can't get to a live professional operator. And so, our objective is to do just that. And by and large, throughout the year, we have a very high connection rate and actually very, very low hold times. But if you are experiencing any trouble in terms of payment or other types of things, we offer a lot of options, and we would really appreciate the chance to in fact, have a conversation with you. I'll work with our team, and we'll be glad to reach out to you and actually follow up and talk with you about all the different ways to set up automatic payments. Of course, payments can be mailed in. We have Western Union, MoneyGram, we have kiosk, we have we have bank draft, auto pay. We of course don't have direct credit card fees, so you can pay by credit card. So our goal is to make it very convenient, and I apologize that you've had some struggles getting through to us on the phone and having the conversation that you need to have. I can assure you we will remedy that. So thank you, Betty.
Thanks so much, John. Thanks, Betty. So glad to hear your voice tonight. All right, let's get next to Lisa in Spotsylvania County. Lisa, you're live right now. Please go ahead with your question.
Yes, I would like to know, as far as everything slowly starting to open up with the COVID pandemic, what is the protocol, or how are you going to transition, people?
Whoops, we lost you there. Appears that maybe her line disconnected or she hung up there, but her protocol was, her question was, what is the protocol for dealing with outstanding bills or unpaid bills?
Well, Lisa, hopefully if you can still hear, great question, and I know that that's a question on the minds of a lot of REC member owners. And as I mentioned in my opening comments, one of our values, our values include caring, respect, integrity, and service, and that caring element of REC has been very, very important this past year, more than a year now. We stopped disconnecting for non-payment all the way back in March of 2020. And since that time, REC has not disconnected any accounts for non-payment. We have not charged any late fees. We have not had any interest expense that we charged. And so we have been working closely with our members to put them on payment plans and to help them. We also were able to receive $4.8 million last year through the CARES Act, $4.6 million last year through the CARES Act to allocate that to members that were behind, and we were able to give some members some benefit late in the year, actually early in this year, based on their last year arrearages. We had an expansive outreach, direct mail, phone calls, doing everything we could do to reach members and make sure they knew about those dollars that were being made available through the federal CARES Act. Now, going forward, I think maybe what I kind of heard in the part of the conversation before Lisa maybe got disconnected was things are starting to move back towards some normalcy. Vaccines are out there, and the economy is starting to move, and businesses are starting to return to some sense of normalcy, albeit extremely carefully. The same for Rappahannock. A couple of key dates, and I think it's important for our members to hear this. So the Virginia state of emergency that was declared by the governor, that's expected now to expire at the end of June. And with that, the state had a moratorium on utilities disconnecting for non-payment. That moratorium is set to expire on August the 29th. And so as we start to move back towards our normal business practices, you could expect to start to see that in September, that we would start to, in the case of a member not being able to pay their bills, we may have to get into considering a disconnection in that time frame in September. But what I want our members to know is that we are working with members to set up very long-term payment plans, in some cases up to 24 months, to help them ease back into it and to have something that can be manageable. In addition, we are helping members connect to agencies that may have dollars available, and in addition to that, we are very hopeful that additional CARES Act dollars will be allocated this year to help even further reduce the burden for members, homes, and businesses that have fallen behind. So that is an extremely important question, Lisa. I know a lot of members have the same concerns. REC will be communicating with our membership quite a bit through July, August, and September. And again, our lobbies are back open to have the conversations and to make sure we have members set up on something that they can manage going forward. Thanks again for your question.
Thank you so much. We have Lindsay up next before Pam and Nancy, again, going to take as many questions as we can. Lindsay's in Riva and asked that I read her question. Her question goes like this. I was on budget billing during COVID, and my budget went from $170 and doubled by the end, and I want to know why that is. I can't get an answer from member services. Where we live, anytime we get a storm or heavy winds, we get flickering lights and power out for quite a while. Why is that? They are working and replacing lines here, but is there anything they can do about that? So it sounds like a two-part question there from Lisa.
Okay, and I think, was it Lindsay, or I believe it was Lindsay. So Lindsay, thank you for your.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Yep, thank you, Lindsay, for your question. So two parts there, and I think this is one we may have to just get directly in contact with you and work through it. And we are glad to look at the billing history, and our metering system captures the data that can tell us what kind of consumption, and we can actually share that information with you. We have energy advisors who can either consult with you on the phone or, if need be, come to your home or business, in this case your home, and talk with you. While some some households may have been doing school or work from home, you could see some consumption changes, but it shouldn't double your bill. And in fact, REC's power cost reduced in 2020, and it further reduced in 2021 in January of each year. So the cost of power has not gone up; it's actually gone down. So we probably need to take a much closer look at that. Now, at the same time, I think with respect to the blinks in your region, again, we have a program that is looking at our circuits and the ones that are maybe performing with power quality that isn't to our liking. We're investing heavily in that. I think we should take a direct look at your home as well on those blinks and gain an understanding of the kind of experience. And my apology that you're having that nuisance. I know that can be very difficult. And honestly, for someone that's working at home, trying to do kids are doing school, they're trying to do work from home, those blinks are even more disruptive now than they would have ever been. So we understand that. We're putting a lot of investment into the grid to deal with reliability concerns. So thank you, Lindsay, for your question, and our team is definitely going to follow up with you.
Thanks, John, and thank you so much, Lindsay. You're absolutely right. Not Lisa, I'm so glad that you can read better than I can. Thanks again, Lindsay. All right, let's get to Pam before Nancy and Richard and Terry. Pam in Stevens City, you're live right now. Please go ahead with your, actually you asked that I read your question as well. Pam's question goes like this. Can you clear up rumors about how the office is as now the office is open, that if you fell behind on your billing during COVID, you'd be required to pay it in full? And that's from Pam.
Okay. Pam, great question, and it's similar to the question that I addressed just a few minutes back, but I'll build off of that. So I want to be extremely clear. First of all, our offices are reopened. We are glad to work with our members on the phone or in person, and we are working with members to set up long-term payment arrangements. We do not have any intention of disconnecting between now and the September timeframe. However, after that September timeframe, the possibility of a disconnection grows more real. And so what we want to do is have a conversation with the members, make sure that we set them up on something that is affordable and attainable. And again, those payment arrangements could be as long as 24 months in some cases. And in addition to that, we are very, very seriously working to pursue the possibility of additional funding through the state as appropriated through the federal dollars that are flowing from Washington to Richmond. And the governor's recent announcements, have indicated that considerations for utilities are a big part of that consideration, as well as things like broadband that have already been discussed this evening. So, Pam, thank you for that question. It's definitely the question on the minds of a lot of members, and we will be working with many members in the months ahead to help get them set up. Thank you.
Thanks so much, John. Let's go right away to Nancy next. Nancy in Orange County, you're live right now. Please go ahead with your question.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I have a question regarding the power lines themselves. We live on the corner of Green and Orange and Albemarle. Technically, we're in Orange, and we have like 20 acres. And there's half a dozen or so power lines. Some of them are as old as the mid-1960s, and a few of them are actually quite damaged. I mean, it looks like they could fall down at any time now. What my question is do you all have a time limit on poles after you put them up, that you come and replace them? Or is it a possibility, do you guys do like burying the lines in the ground and just get rid of poles altogether?
Nancy, fantastic question, and great timing, extremely timely. So a couple of answers. First of all, we do what I would call, in some cases, strategic undergrounding, where the reliability or the cost of overhead maintenance is too great, where in some cases we do put circuits underground. That is, however, generally speaking, a much more costly way of constructing, so it's not the norm. It's not the normal approach. With respect to aging infrastructure, REC has been and is studying aging infrastructure and also increasing the standards for our construction for stronger infrastructure, in some cases what would be called a stronger class pole, so that it has the ability to carry additional conductor or even fiber connections and fiber optic connections, those types of things into the future. So we are in the process right now of doing a significant study on aging infrastructure throughout the co-op's territory. Now, in addition to that, this is not a new topic. In addition to that, we replace thousands of poles every year based on, in some cases, age, but primarily based on inspection. We inspect, so we replace thousands and thousands. We inspect even more than that. And so we have actually a contractor firm that goes through and actually does a rigorous inspection on our poles and gives us a quality report back, letting us know which poles need to be replaced. So what I think we should do, Nancy, is make sure we get somebody out to your property and to take a look at the condition and have a conversation with you. I know we have a lot of projects in our work plan in that part of Orange and in the regions there where the counties come together. I know that we have a lot of what we call work plan engineering or construction projects. Just in general for the membership, REC this present year is investing $70 million into the grid and the upkeep and the expansion and the replacement. And so we are reaching historic levels of replacement. And Nancy, we'd love to come take a look at the site that you're talking about and make sure that that the infrastructure is in good shape. And if it's not, we will schedule that for all that it needs. Thank you for calling that to our attention.
Thanks so much, John. Thanks, Nancy. Let's get right away to Richard. Richard in Spotsylvania, you are live right now. Please go ahead with your question.
Hey, yes, I think I made a mistake. I was telling the gentleman earlier that my electric bill was $95, but I pay these bills automatic through my checking account. But it wasn't an electric bill; it was the gas bill. It was $95. The electric bill was only $37. So I guess I need to get with the gas company to find out. I'm a snowbird that I spend the winters in Florida, and I'm getting ready to come back actually tomorrow. And before I left up there in February, I turned my heat way down to like 40 degrees. And that the heat, I guess, works on gas. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Well, Richard, it could be either or both. So I don't want to cut you off there, but if you're finished with your question, we have members that have homes that are electric heat as well as electric air conditioning. We have members that have gas heat, and we have members that have hybrid systems that are part gas, part electric, and other fuels as well. So we're glad to hear that your electric bill is not as high as you might have thought it was. It's down at $37. We're also glad, if it's seasonal use, we're also glad to help take a look at anything there and give you any of your billing history if you want us to help make those records available, so you can kind of look back and see what the differences are when you're there or when maybe someone's not using the dwelling. Just so the membership knows, our average electric bill for a consumer that uses 1,000 kilowatt hours. Now, if you're not there year round, you probably wouldn't use that. But for a member owner that uses 1,000 kilowatt hours, their electric bill should be right at about $120 and actually $120.87. That's below the national average, by the way, which is a little over $130 last year, $132 actually last year for residential consumption. So Virginia itself is below the national average, and of course REC as well. And we have a strong competitive rate, especially given the vast region that we need to serve, and really what's kind of lower density than maybe some of the other utilities, the larger IOUs in the state. So, Richard, thanks for your question. I hope our response was helpful. And again, if you'd like us to work with you for a detailed review, we're glad to do that.
Thanks so much, John. Thanks, Richard. Now we have Terry up live next, but I do want to remind everyone that everyone that has submitted a question will receive communication from us within about a week from this call, and everyone will be able to leave us a voicemail message at the end. Now, to keep sneaking in as many questions as we can, let's get Terry live right now in Stevens City. Terry, you're live. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. Stevens City is slated for 2, possibly 3 solar farms. There's one in Clark County nearby. Shenandoah County has it, I think. I'm wondering if REC has any plans on using that solar energy and banking it so that if there's outages, you don't lose service, or if there's a cyber attack, to use it so that continuity of service will continue. Any plans for doing that?
Terry, great question, and a very timely question with respect to cyber security issues. So first, there is a Clark County solar array along Highway 522 that ODEC, our power provider, is one of the off-takers for that project. So we already are using some of the solar energy that is generated right there in Clark County. With respect to cybersecurity, and of course we have tracked closely much of the news that many have read, whether it be the SolarWinds attack, the recent Colonial Pipeline attack, or even the attack that occurred on the JBS meats and food provider. as well as we've also followed issues that occurred like in the Texas grid this past winter, not necessarily a cyber issue, but a reliability or a business energy continuity issue. So we're following those things closely. With respect to using on-site energy for to continue through a national or regional emergency, really just a couple comments on that. First, some members who put solar at their homes may choose to pair that solar with energy storage, like a battery system, and REC is glad to help with that. I hope that we have more programs for that, maybe even as early as next year. So that's one thing that we can do kind of at the individual home level. REC also was the first Virginia co-op to install a utility-scale battery storage system. This actually went in Spotsylvania County, and it's a system that could power 1,000 homes for about 8 hours or so. And so that system is already active. That's just one of the benefits. We actually use it to curb demand and to defer infrastructure expenditures. So Terry, this is a great question. It's very timely. We take security of the grid and cybersecurity extremely seriously, as well as our utility, neighboring utilities and counterparts. Renewable or distributed or solar energy does play a role in that, and that's also another kind of benefit in the co-op model, because what we're doing to help members install on-site solar. Now, a lot of the members that put solar in may not be putting energy storage with it. So in that case, it's possible that their system is dependent on the grid. Other members might put in a system that has some storage and is capable of being an island, if you will, and operating as a standalone. In addition to that, in addition to all of this, kind of moving outside of the solar conversation, we have a partnership with a company called Generac, and Generac provides backup power systems. They're not solar, they're propane or natural gas or other fuel. And some members, we have a referral program there. Some members choose to go through that, and if they have certain needs, they may make that investment as well as something that is going to be there for them in the event of some type of emergency issue. So, great question. It's something that is on the minds of a lot of folks and a lot of our membership, and is certainly on the minds of myself and our team here and our engineering designers and team members that are seeing after the grid. So, Allison, we'll turn it back to you.
Thanks so much, John. Thanks, Terry. I think we have time for one more question. But again, if you stay until the very end of the call, we invite you to please leave us a voicemail message. So important comments from John here at the end as well. So let's get Kelly right now in Louisa. Kelly, you're live. Please go ahead with your question. Oops, Kelly, are you there? Do you maybe have us on mute?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
You're live.
Thanks for taking my question. Here's what it is. REC, I was just wondering if there was any type of possibility that you guys help REC members with, say maybe if a heat pump goes out, if it can be replaced through REC and we pay for it, to get it added into each bill until it's paid for.
Kelly, thank you so much for your question. Thank you for being an REC member in Louisa County. So I mentioned it briefly in my opening statements, but we are presently underway launching what's going to be one of the first programs in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's a co-op program. It's called On-Bill Tariff. It's similar to on-bill financing. It's essentially doing something very similar. But what we do with on-bill tariff is we work with installers, and we work to evaluate the home and look at the energy consumption and determine if, for instance, a new heat pump or an air conditioner or weatherization, for instance, caulking and such, if that could lower the electricity bill. And if it does, what we then do is we work to provide a very affordable tariff-based financing so that you as the member can pay it back with the energy savings. And actually it's designed to where you would still have additional energy savings. So you would actually save more energy than even the cost of the system. So we are underway right now with our stakeholder engagement groups. We had around 70 stakeholders that participated in our first listening and engagement session. We have another one coming up soon. We would love for you to participate in it. I think we already have over 250 participants, I believe it is, that are scheduled to be in that discussion. And it could include heat pumps and air conditioners. So we would we'd really like for you to consider being in our next stakeholder engagement discussion. And beyond just that on-bill tariff program, we are also looking at on-bill financing at a different scale that could also include things like solar arrays or electric vehicle charging stations. The co-op, your co-op, has access to very affordable and attractive interest rates. And we have a billing system, and so it's just natural that we can use that billing system or the ability to work with the commission and set up a tariff here. It's just natural that we do those types of things to help our members achieve their energy objectives. So, great question, Kelly, and thanks for asking it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, John. And with that, we have reached the end of the allotted time for our Q&A. Went a little bit over, just trying to get as many questions in as possible. But again, I want to let everyone know, after you hear some closing remarks from John Hewa, here you can leave us a voicemail message by following the prompts, and we'll respond to all of those voicemails as well as everyone who submitted a question tonight. So I'll turn this over to you, John, to bring us to the finish line.
Well, thank you, Allison. I'll keep my closing comments very brief, but wow, thank you, REC members. What an engaged membership discussion this evening. Really always look forward to these, and I can't wait till we can have another one. And I hope that, again, so many of you will participate in our annual meeting processes and the proxies as well. Thank you for joining us on this telephone town hall meeting. We truly, your team truly, and I truly appreciate the opportunity to connect with you. If you had a question that did not get answered this evening, you'll have an opportunity to leave a voicemail. So our team goes back afterwards, and we contact everybody that desires to be contacted or followed up with. And our goal is to do that within a week. We may not have the issue fully resolved in a week, but our goal is to reach contact with you to begin to address your concern and make sure that we are the responsive co-op that you've known and can continue to rely on. So with that, please be safe, take good care of yourselves, and we look forward to seeing you on the next town hall.